on all three platforms. So we are live on Instagram. I got 3 cameras going: Instagram, YouTube, and soon to be Facebook. So bear with me momentarily. We're doing a live book signing today, and each time I do a live signing, we seem to be oh, there's Facebook. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, Instagram. Welcome, YouTube. We're live on all 3 platforms, doing a live book signing with my new book called Move Forward. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about sort of the genesis of the book and why I think it's important today, meaning in 2021, more than ever. If you have any questions for me, I've got the comments enabled on YouTube and Facebook. I cannot see comments or anything on Instagram because it's on my phone and I'm not in front of my phone. And I'm doing this all by myself. I don't have my trusty assistant here with me today who normally is manning the cameras. So that being said, welcome everybody. Happy 2021. It's almost Valentine's Day. Don't forget to send a Valentine or plan a gift, an event, a date night for your significant other. And I want to remind you guys, a vacuum cleaner is not a good gift. It never is. Not for Valentine's Day, not for birthday, not for anything. So more importantly, we are here to do a live book signing. And the book that I am signing, we just took orders on starting last 2 weeks ago. It's called Move Forward. What it is a daily reader. It's just kind of arranged for, daily reading that you can get done if you only have 3 minutes. You know, maybe in a rare event, you are sitting on the toilet without your phone. You could leave this book on the back of the toilet and just pick up that particular day and read it. It is not dated, it just has numbers, for the days of the year. There are 367 different strategies, different readings in this book. And it's a book designed, as it says, a daily guide to enhancing your well-being. And sort of the genesis of the book is, basically it's my mental health journey from 2019. If you've been following me, a member of my community, friend, colleague of mine, a reader, listen to my podcast perhaps for any length of time, you know that 2019 was probably easily the worst year of my adult life. I struggled with a bunch of physical injuries, a neck injury, narrowly avoided spinal fusion surgery, a lot of stomach pain, bad headaches. I think they're all interrelated, and I think they're all related essentially, my physical health related to my mental health. And I was struggling as a result of my physical injuries with my mental health as well. I became depressed. I became anxious, discouraged, worried about, getting spinal fusion surgery, which is not exactly low risk surgery. I'll just put it that way. So, on the advice of my therapist, yes, I was in counseling. I started journaling and documenting just different strategies that I used to improve my mental health on a day-to-day basis. I started tweeting about them each day using the hashtag BrewTips. And that essentially is how this book was born, Daily Guide to Enhancing Your Well-Being. And it's just, highly actionable strategies. It's not a bunch of fluff. It's not a bunch of stupid motivational quotes or anything like that. It's meat and potatoes, nuts and bolts, things you can do that, the second you put the book down, you're done with that reading for the day. It's something you can implement right away. So that being said, I wanted to make sure I shared that in 2021 with folks because, well, 2020, I realized, and this is kind of ironic, was a really bad year, and in many people's cases, one of the worst years of their life. Compared to 2019, especially, 2020 wasn't a bad year at all for me. And looking back, I launched an apparel brand and I wrote 2 books in 2020 during the quarantine, during the pandemic. Looking back, it was actually one of the best years of my life. I made good use of my time in lockdown, so to speak, and just was able to document a lot of that journey through 2019. But I know 2020 I knew it was bad. I didn't realize just how bad it was in terms of the isolation and loneliness of, the quarantine, the pandemic, and all that. Over the holidays, I was reading a report. There's a organization called Mental Health America, mentalhealthamerica.org, I believe is the website. I would encourage you to take a look at the resources they have there. It's a great organization, but they published a mental health report basically for the United States. Research they did in 2020, and I was absolutely thunderstruck by what I read. Really just saddened because, and I want you to stick with me here, because I think you need to hear this because, we're all in this story in some way, shape, or form. It might not be you battling anxiety, depression, loneliness, isolation, contemplating suicide, whatever it might be. It might not be you, but the odds are really strong that someone is dealing with that. And that's why I want you to stick with me on this and just take a listen to some of these statistics. This is from Mental Health America's research in 2020. 1 in 4 young people contemplated suicide during the last 90 days of 2020. 1 in 6 U.S. youth ages 6 to 17 experienced a mental health disorder in 2020. Antidepressant use for all ages in the U.S. was up 600%. 600%. That's crazy. And 40% of adults reported struggling with mental health in the year 2020. And that is up from 6%, just 6% in 2019. So pre-pandemic, about 6% of Americans reported struggling with mental health. And that number jumped up to 40% during the pandemic in 2020. U.S. Army suicides, I think we all know that it's a high-stress profession. I think it's 22 Army veterans commit suicide a day. But U.S. Army suicides of people currently in the service increased 30% during the pandemic compared to 2019, the year 2019. And I think one of the things that really illuminated all of this for me was this final stat that I have for you, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the book. But they did all these mental health screenings, and they found that 70%, 70, not 17, 70% of people who took that mental health screening reported one of the biggest things contributing to their mental health concerns was loneliness or isolation. And you're probably thinking, yeah, duh, no surprise. But that just, anytime you see a number that big, that just, at least for me, really jumps out at me. Normally what I'll do during February, which is my favorite month of the year. In past years, you probably participated in this. I'd hold a contest where each day I'd do a different giveaway. I'd give away one of my books that you see over my shoulder over there on the bookshelf, some CDs, different information products that I have, and prizes and things. I give something different away every day. It was an online contest. But this year I opted to do something a little different. My apparel company and I, Chin Up Chest Out, it's chinupchestout.com. We decided we would accept nominations from our customers this year. And what we did was they can nominate just kind of like an everyday hero in their community who really embodies the ethos of our brand, that mindset of being resilient and moving forward and, actively protecting your mental health. And just essentially someone who persevered in the face of adversity in 2020. And we'd send them a personal note, a little care package with some apparel, hat, t-shirt, things like that. Just kind of celebrate them and their resilience. And, I don't share any of that to impress you. I share it to impress something upon you. And that is that there are just a lot of people fighting hanging on by a thread, fighting very silent battles who really need your support and recognition. And they're right in your own community in a lot of cases. In many cases, it could be someone right in your own household, your neighborhood, your school, your classroom if you're a teacher, on your roster if you're a coach. And what's become really, really tough, I was just having this conversation with a colleague and friend of mine who's a guidance counselor. And what's become really tough, especially for educators, but this could go for the workplace. It could go for the same could hold true for any setting anywhere in America or anywhere in the world for that matter. Is it's really hard to tell when someone's in a bad spot emotionally during this time because they're wearing a mask. You don't see the frown on their face. You're lucky if you can really kind of get a good read on their eyes, and you have to rely on body language and trying to get a read on their eyes. So much can be gleaned from the smile on someone's face or a frown or just, how they look when you see their whole face, which we don't get to see today. And, no one was trained, as far as I know, in the workplace or in education. No one was trained on body language and what kind of cues and clues that reveals, or eye contact and how people's expressions kind of from here up, what they reveal. So it's a lot tougher to get a read on people and understand how they're doing. And some people are really good at masking their emotions, masking their feelings. And I don't mean physically with a mask. I mean, in the figurative sense, they mask it really well. And it's a lot easier for them to mask it figuratively when they're also literally wearing a mask. So it's something to keep in mind. There are a lot of people fighting silent battles who are hanging on by a thread. And so I want to ask you to do me a favor. I want to ask you to, after you listen to this or watch this video, just check in on somebody somebody in your community. It could be your child down the hall in their bedroom. It could be a student in your class. It could be one of your employees that is just dealing with a lot, has a lot of balls in the air, so to speak. Check in with them and just see how they're doing. I mean, really check in with them. I don't mean shoot them a text and thumb something out on your phone or just email them or do a mass email to every employee in your company. I mean, really, like, knock on their door. I'll pick up the phone and call them. You can at least get a read on their tone of voice on the phone. But yeah, that loneliness and that isolation, try and do something to bridge the gap with that. I think it's incredibly important today more than ever, because we really don't want to see, those statistics I just read you. We don't want to see that pattern repeat from 2020 into 2021. So, I just kind of want to highlight for you. I have a list of some of the people that we celebrated, that our customers nominated, who have been incredibly resilient in the face of a lot of adversity. And I'm confident that as I share a couple of their stories, you're going to know someone who sort of fits that description. And that's exactly the kind of person I'd love to have you check in on after this video. So, the first person we recognized was a recently divorced single mom of 4 children who is working 3 jobs and lost her father and grandmother within a week and a half of one another in 2020. And it just talk about resilience and the ability to really juggle a lot of responsibility and a lot of deal with a lot of loss. That's amazing. Another one is a recently widowed woman living in isolation, far away from her family and her adult children. A single mother teaching an outdoor classroom in the elements. Just in order to keep the school open, they had to move everything outdoors under tents. And she's not in Arizona or Florida or California where it's sunny and 75 all day. This time of year, it's the elements here in the East Coast. There's a young college student as well who had to walk away from what she thought was her dream job in New York City because it was really just destroying her mental health. And I'm happy to say she's doing well now. A school administrator who's reopened after the quarantine closed down the school, a school for special needs students, and she's really kind of single-handedly taken that responsibility on. I mean, this list goes on and on. These are just a handful of the people we recognized. And the last one, which really hit home for me, was a teenager who's rebuilding his life right now after trying to commit suicide just before Christmas. And, this is a kid who seemingly, and this is why I want you to reach out to people after this video, this is a kid who seemingly everything was going fine. Everything was going swimmingly. And he was just dealing with a lot, didn't share that with his family, and just kind of, shouldered that heavy burden himself. And it just got to be too much. He was in too much pain. He tried to take his own life. He's doing better now, and he's really doing well, rebuilding his life. But it's just a cautionary tale. And I think a lot of people fall into that category right now. And there's an old saying, I'll leave you with this: be kind to everyone you meet, fighting a hard battle you know nothing about. And I think that's more true now than ever before. So I do want to encourage you to reach out to people. And then also, as I'm signing some of these books, and I'm going to answer some questions about it, if you know somebody who could benefit from my new daily reader, it's got 367 mental health strategies, one for every day of the year. You can start it at any point. It's not dated. It's available on my website, moveforwardbook.com. It's not available on Amazon. We are not making Jeff Bezos any richer than he already is. And right now it's on sale for 33% off. It's $20. So I actually have a team order right here. Someone ordered a copy for every player on their roster. I've got another order for every employee at somebody's company. So I share that with you because if you have you can contact me for a discount on bulk orders. And no, 2 copies does not count as a bulk order, in case you're wondering. So we're going to start. I got some of these orders I'll sign right now. And again, just, wanted to remind you that everybody's fighting silent battle right now. I know that because I dealt with depression in 2019. And the reality of it was I probably spent the previous 10 years in denial about the fact that, that I wasn't doing well. I thought, I can handle everything myself and I'd be fine. And that wasn't the case. I think, and guys are stubborn, especially, before smartphones, the stereotype is we don't like to stop and ask for directions when we're lost. We just don't like to ask for help in general, it seems. And, my message to you and to everyone is asking for help is not a sign of weakness at all. It's actually a sign of strength. And I assure you there are people who want you to be well and want you to stick around. And getting help's important. I got help in 2019, started seeing a wonderful therapist. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, especially people who do, what I do and own a small business or, are starting up a company, transitioning into a new career, being self-employed, it's really important for you to have someone to talk to, because entrepreneurs are something like 600% more likely to suffer from depression, stress, like acute cumulative stress and anxiety than the rest of the gen pop, so to speak, the general population. And that's because we're responsible for, what's the best way I can put it? I guess you compare an entrepreneur to someone who works a job, or a job for a company or for someone else. It's kind of like being an outdoor cat versus being an indoor cat. The outdoor cat's we're gonna eat what we kill, and we're responsible for bringing in that revenue and feeding our family and putting a roof over our heads. And the indoor cat, so to speak, the employee, has a little cushion. They have slightly, I'm not saying you don't have stress, I'm saying you have slightly less stress, because there are slightly, or in some cases, largely less responsibilities. I think that's why there's a much greater burden of stress on the entrepreneur. So with that in mind, again, if you're an entrepreneur, I think you need to see a therapist. I think it would be crazy and irresponsible for anyone in business not to have a coach. And that's not a commercial or a plug for what I do. I have a coach. I see a counselor and I have a coach. And I have a personal board of advisors that I consult with my business. And I just think it's incredibly important for you to have that sounding board. So I just wanted to come to you, share that information, kind of give you the genesis of the book, my personal story, kind of dealing with and overcoming depression and anxiety in 2019, doing something about it in 2020, and kind of trying to pay it forward with this book for people who might be in similar circumstances in 2021. So shout out to the following people who just put orders in this week: Sarah Swenson, Veronica Mower, John Chapin, Jason Leanna, Polly Cunningham, and Derek Volk. And I have a bulk order sitting here from Adam Todd, SUNY Canton, women's lacrosse team, and another corporate order that's in the hopper right now. That's kind of a surprise gift. I can't really talk about who that's going to or where it's going, because I know a bunch of their people could be tuned in, and I don't want to ruin the surprise. Anyway, it's moveforwardbook.com. It's available on my website for my apparel brand. And the reason it's there is that brand was founded to help promote mental health, and we donate a percentage of our sales to different mental health organizations in the United States every quarter. And during 2020, our partner charity was the National Alliance on Mental Illness. In 2021, we're going to spread the love around a little bit more. And I just think it's important to give back and support organizations doing great work, especially during this time, and try and remove the stigma from getting help. And I'll leave you with this final thought. As far as our health goes, so much attention, especially during the pandemic, is paid to physical health, because it tends to be a very visible thing if you're not healthy. Like, for example, if you break your leg, it's very obvious you have a broken leg. If you have anxiety, that's not visible to the general public, but that can be even more debilitating. And it's just interesting that every year, we get an annual physical, but we don't get an annual mental every year. I know it sounds goofy, but I'm very serious. I think everyone should take a depression screening every year, at least once a year. Hell, take it once every quarter. Just the old checkup from the neck up, so to speak. But we get an annual physical, but we don't pay attention to making sure we get an annual mental. And our mental and our physical health is intimately tied to one another. Once I really started to climbed my way out of depression through counseling and medication. It was amazing. My physical symptoms went away. My stomach pains went away. My headaches went away. Hell, I thought I was gluten intolerant. I might be a little gluten intolerant, but it was amazing. Once I treated my depression, my gluten intolerance strangely went away. And, there's a strong link between anxiety, depression, kind of your mental state, and inflammation, physical inflammation in your body. So I would encourage everybody take a mental health screening. If you know somebody that could benefit from this book, it's moveforwardbook.com. You can head over to my website and get it there. And thank you. So everyone on YouTube, appreciate you tuning in. Instagram, same thing. And Facebook Live, thank you. And feel free to message me on my website with any questions, you want information, any further details, or if you want a bulk discount on the book, go ahead and message me on any of these platforms. Easiest way is on my website, and we'll get you a bulk discount for your team or your workplace. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you in the next video.